I had my private investigators serve my ex-wife divorce papers. Let me tell my story. Hello, True Story. I hope all is well with you. I have to start with I'm a big fan of your channel. As I've discovered, you've been around for some time. I subscribed to the True Story Epic channel in March and just only learned that you have a ton of other stories. Salute to you, good sir. I've started checking out the other stories on the other channel as well. And man, what a catalog. I enjoy listening during my 45-minute commute to work and back. Thanks for what you do. Now, if I may, I'd love to share my story with you and your audience. I met my promiscuous of an ex-wife in 2009. When we met, she claimed to be this pure woman who never went out and rarely drank. She held this fake persona until we married. She didn't claim to be a virgin, but she did say she was practicing abstinence and she's waiting on her husband. I will admit, when we first did it, she was, and I would say, very tight. Even my fingers had a tough time, so I believed it. Not to be too TMI, True Story, I think I met her when she had already had her first 304 phase. I say first because she definitely had another 304 phase when we were married. She would send me scriptures in the mornings and throughout the day when we were dating. It made me want to change my ways. I cut back drinking, and I was willing to practice abstinence with her. It was tough. When you're around a woman and dating often, and you both are close, a lot of times it's hard to not want it. I definitely tried often during our dating stage, and she said no, and I'd go home and grab the bottle of lotion. Sorry, TMI. That went on for 2 years straight. I never folded or cheated while we were a couple ever. I had plenty of opportunities, but I didn't, and I don't regret it either because my feelings for her were through the roof, and they were pure. So the fall of 2012, we married. It was a wonderful wedding. We didn't make it to the honeymoon before jumping each other's bones. I was so eager and ready for her that I had to take a step back and make her comfortable. Once I did that, things were easier, and it was amazing. When we finished, we stepped back out and joined the reception. Some people cheered us on as we arrived back because they knew what we were back there doing. Wow. Some of the other guests looked confused. Our flight for our honeymoon was that night, late night flight. Our honeymoon was a week long. It was great, and multiple times each night we made love. We were all over each other. We skipped a couple of events we were supposed to attend because we'd rather stay in bed and be together. We went on to have a good marriage. Things were great. We both worked, and soon enough, she was pregnant with twins. We were both excited and happy to bring kids into the world. The 2 girls were born healthy, and our life seemed great. After the twins were born, she immediately changed. Both of our mothers gave the girls more motherly attention than she did for the first few years. I thought our bedroom life would kick back up, but it was just like how she was in the beginning of her pregnancy. She didn't even want to touch me, rarely a kiss. Her libido increased after a few months into the pregnancy, then it took a nosedive again and just never seemed to really recover. Well, let me say, she didn't want it with me because she definitely started sleeping with several different people. I didn't understand it. She went into this 304 phase as a wife with children. So with the lack of bedroom intimacy and intimacy period on any level, I started snooping through her phone and laptops. I never found anything. That's when I made my way to the internet, Googling questions on how to prove wife is cheating and how cheaters hide their sneaky ways, etc. I landed on online forums and YouTube. I found comfort in reading and listening to stories. Many I could empathize with because I had gone through the same thing. Worrying. What's going on? There's so many brothers out here who have no one to turn to. I felt as if I couldn't. I read how men would say they'd go to their bros and they'd get ashamed, laughed at. What kind of friend does that? A lot of men run to the internet, not always because they want a little pity party, but they want to get their stories out. And fortunately, a lot of men's stories have helped many men around the world. Whether it's learning from their mistakes or finding comfort in knowing you aren't alone. I couldn't find much in her devices, so after reading a story on an online forum, I decided to take that approach used in his story, and that was hire a private investigator. I never in all my years thought I'd be hiring a private investigator. For what? I didn't even think this existed. I simply Googled private investigator near me, and a number of companies showed up. Guys listening, this is a real thing. Seriously, people had reviews and everything. I settled on a guy who had more views than others. Some only had one or two, so I thought getting someone with more views made sense. Not a smart move. He had 27 reviews. All great. I reached out and we scheduled a sit down. He was younger than me, but he kind of seemed like he had it all together. We went over pricing and I told him what I needed. I said I needed him to go through her emails and phone to figure out what she deleted or hides. I could grab it by accident because we have the same phone. I just tell her I didn't know or notice. This guy tells me that he may have a guy who can do that, but he's never done it before. What he does is put the person's name into some online website and he pays for the cost to get the information on the person being investigated. I told him, well, I can do that. What else do you do? He says, well, what else do you need? I said, I need you to find out what my wife's been hiding. He says, well, this website will bring up all of her social media accounts. I said, what about you hacking into them and giving me the information on things she may have deleted or following her to see if she's meeting anyone? He says, I've done the following the person I've investigated before, and I was arrested for stalking. Needless to say, I ended our meeting and continued my search for a private investigator. I did some digging and decided to have a conversation on the phone, first about everything before even meeting. I found my guy via an online forum that I'd frequent. He lived in my area. This was my guy, older gentleman, but had been doing this for years. He could find out anything about anyone in a matter of hours. He was good. After our 20-minute phone conversation, we met that evening. This man sat there and told me, Mr. Smith, fake name, I will find out exactly what Mrs. Smith is hiding from you. First off, I want to ask you this. Did you know anything about her weekend stay at the casino 2 weeks ago with Mr. Jackson? Fake name again. I said, no, 2 weeks ago, she was at her mother's helping paint the dining room. And her mother wanted some daughter-mom time for the weekend. The private investigator tells me, no, she definitely stayed at the casino from Friday evening to Sunday morning. She even won a few $1,000s. I said, dang, how do you know? And can you prove it to me? He says, I know everything, but take a look at this. He pulls out his phone and he has some CCTV looking footage of my wife and some guy hugged up walking into the casino. It was her. I know my wife. I was ticked off. I knew something was wrong. I hired him and I told him I wanted to know everything. My first thought was to DNA test the twins, and that's what I did. It was not difficult convincing her that I should take the girls to their dentist appointment to give her some time alone. She was just fine with it, and that's when I also went and got a DNA test. The twins were not mine. My wife had been cheating on me for the longest. The private investigator I hired gave me a bunch of juicy information as well. My wife had been cheating on me even before we married. Here I am practicing abstinence to try to get on her frequency of life, but she was deceitful the entire time. How could someone require you to do something that they're pretending to do? What type of mental illness is that? It has to fall under some category. Why confuse me and lie to me like that? Why deceive me like that? And I married this woman. Everything I found out just broke me down, man, and I felt like nothing. I was just lied to and tricked into marrying someone. But then I'd question myself. Why would she want to marry me so bad? I'm not special. I'm not rich. It's nothing phenomenal about me. I'm just a normal guy. The private detective started with telling me that my ex-wife was once married. It was very shortly lived, less than a year. She never told me about this. No one in her family ever mentioned this to me. But apparently the guy that she was married to divorced her, and in the details that the private investigator found, he divorced her due to infidelity. Now, trust me, if I'd known she was married before and she was divorced because she cheated, chances of me marrying her would have lessened. Please believe me, to confirm the marriage and the reason for the divorce, my PI was able to locate her ex-husband. He had a recording of everything, and basically he confirmed she was a liar. She was a cheater, and she was a thief. She had stole over $40,000 from him, right from under his nose. She'd take his credit cards and use them and act as if she didn't do it, when clearly it was her. She was just a habitual liar. She couldn't help herself. This man said he married the wrong woman. He had been with her for 3 years, and she pulled the whole abstinence card on him before getting married. My PI never told this man about me, but the fact that he brought up how she pretended to be abstinent for so long and actually punished him during their dating process because she caught him pleasing himself or something. I don't know how she did it. Apparently, she stayed the night with him, and she woke up and he was in the other room doing something by himself, and she punished him for it. And he spent years trying to get her to believe that he was the man for her, and all she did was cheat on him, steal from him, and deceive him. This woman is just pure evil. He then told me about the first guy who'd she'd known for years, even years before. Knowing me, this is probably the guy she was cheating on her ex-husband with, but she's always had a relationship with him. It's never ended. My PI had everything. Text messages, DM messages, everything. I don't know how he was able to do it, but he read everything to me and provided documents to me. My wife was definitely cheating on me with this man, and this wasn't the only man. They'd meet up at his place. I never met this man in my life. I saw his Facebook profile and saw pictures of him. I've never seen him ever. Never even heard of him. How is she able to do all of this behind my back? She's just a master manipulator. There were other guys that she met online from dating apps. She'd lied to me, telling me she was going one place and doing one thing, but in all actuality, she was with these guys meeting up. She kept friends with some of them. Sometimes it was a one-time thing. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't good enough for her. Maybe they didn't have what she wanted, so she'd kick them to the curb. There was one guy begging her to call him back. This man literally said, "You can't just sleep with me and then leave and ghost me like that." I saw the message of this guy saying this. It was like, that's something a woman would say. Man after man, it just didn't stop. I don't know who the father is of the twins. Disgusting. Then we have Mr. Jackson. She took a liking to him. They hung out a lot, even more than the old friend that she'd known before. They'd hang out a lot. Like I said earlier, casino weekends, that wasn't even just a one-time thing. The PI found out this was something they'd do frequently. I never knew my ex-wife to be a gambler at all, but she seemed to enjoy it with him. So all those times she'd tell me I'm staying the night at my mother's or I'm helping my cousin with something, it was with a guy, and I was too stupid to even look into it. If I'd call and she didn't answer, or I'd text her and she doesn't respond, I chalk it up. She's busy. She'd call or text the next day on her way home. "Sorry, we were doing this. Sorry I missed your text. We were doing that." But in all actuality, she was literally cheating on me. I feel like such an idiot, which is why I decided to go savage mode. I did not want to hold back. I wanted to destroy her. I didn't tell her anything I found out. I went straight to my lawyer to make sure I was good. DNA test results, everything. All the information I had from the PI. I just wanted to destroy her. I wanted her to feel the pain that I felt, the pain that her ex-husband felt. She deserved to be destroyed. The one thing I came up with was send her family members the video. So I hadn't even had this planned, but my PI sent me a link of something. It's like he didn't stop working. Once he found out all the information that he discovered, he sent me a link and warned me what I was about to see. I told him to give it to me. It was a link to Twitter. My wife and this guy, Mr. Jackson, were on it. So Mr. Jackson likes to make videos that he puts on his OF account and Twitter. And my wife was part of one of them. Disgusting seeing her like that. This is a married woman with children. This guy is doing all types of things to her. I can't even say here because I know you can't read it. But it was disgusting. Literally disgusting. Let's just say this. I'll put it this way. This is the most PG way I can say it. If my ex-wife was a working woman, she'd gladly fly back and forth to Dubai to provide services. If anyone knows what I'm getting at, then you know. If not, then you probably shouldn't know. This is the same woman I was begging to bring back our bedroom action, wondering why she wasn't sleeping with me. I'm glad she stopped, and I hope she was doing none of that while we were sleeping together. Just gross. Somehow, some way, her mother, father, aunt, and uncle, siblings all got a hold of that link. I have no idea how they got it, but they got it. Once when we both were home, and this was before my ex-wife got served, she got a FaceTime call from her sister screaming, "Oh my gosh, what is wrong with you?" And my ex-wife says, "What are you talking about? What's going on?" And I can hear her sister ask if I was nearby. My ex-wife looked back and said, "Yeah, he is." Her sister then said, "Call me now." I pretended like I didn't hear anything, and all of a sudden, my wife needed to run to the store. When she got back, she was so frantic. I could tell she was nervous, and I knew what it was. I asked her, "What's wrong?" And she looked at me, eyes wide open, and said, "Nothing. Nothing at all. I thought I needed pasta, but remembered we had some already." I said, "Yeah, honey, you pulled it out earlier. It's sitting on the counter. That's why you have the water sitting on the stove, ready to boil." She said, Yes, you're right." I walked away and let her finish cooking. By the way, I never ate her food after discovering all of this. She'd cook and not even realize that I didn't make a plate at all. So I hired the private investigator again so he could serve my now ex-wife divorce papers. I told him that she was spending the weekend at her mother's again, and he found out that they were at the casino for the weekend. My wife gave me the same story, mommy and daughter time this weekend. I just knew it. "You know how it is," she said. "Are you going to be okay without me?" I said, "Absolutely." The girls were going with her as well. This was a typical thing. I let the PI know what was going on. He confirmed everything and was prepared to serve her. At the casino, he ended up catching her at the parking lot. He recorded everything as well. Had it on his body. He saw them sitting in the car. I guess they were pre-gaming, drinking before going into the casino. They had already been there, but they had left to go somewhere else first, but then was coming back. Once they got out of the car, private investigator jumps out and heads over to them, stops them right in their tracks. And Mr. Jackson puts his hands on my private investigator saying, "Hey buddy, back up." Now this private investigator is no joke. This guy is also a boxing legend. Failed to mention that. And you can hear the private investigator tell Jackson, "Sir, if you knew better, you would not put your hands on me." I guess the way the private investigator said it and how he looked at Mr. Jackson, Mr. Jackson put his hands down and said, "What's going on, man? What's your beef? What do you want?" The private investigator then looked at my ex-wife and said, "Ma'am, you have been served. Have a great day." My ex-wife screams and you can hear her say, "Served? Served what? What are you talking about? Am I being sued? Oh my gosh, I hope it's not." He turned around and said, "No, ma'am, you're not being sued. You're getting a divorce. Your husband is leaving you." She said, "What? Leaving me? I don't deserve this. What could he possibly be leaving me for? I don't deserve this crap." I just don't understand her mentally, true story. She's just gone. To think that she's done nothing wrong after all she's been doing? I didn't get a call until Sunday morning. She tells me I'm a piece of crap. Why am I divorcing her? And she said, who the heck told me that I wasn't the kid's father? I said, you saw the DNA test results. I'm not their father. I don't know who their father is, but it's not me. This woman starts crying on the phone. You can't just do this to me. I did nothing wrong. What you think is not what it is. Let's just go get the paternity test done again. I can prove to you that I have not ever lied to you. I will never lie to you. I'm not that type of woman. I said, listen here. I have all the evidence I need. I told her about every single man, even the man she met on the dating apps. I told her about her ex-husband that she never told me about, and how he told me, and that was a lie because I never spoke to him, but how he told me how she cheated on him, stole thousands of dollars from him, and cheated on him. She failed to mention any of that to me. If I would have known that, I would have never married her. I would have never dated her. I would have never taken her serious. I have the DNA test results. I even seen the video of her doing some pretty disgusting things. That's what I told her. She said, what video? There's not a video of me. Are you serious? Oh my gosh, my college days? I said, no, this is very recent, and you know it. Probably at the casino you've been going to. She said, casino? What casino? I don't go to casinos. I don't gamble. What are you talking about? You're making things up. I was done. This woman is basically gaslighting me, telling me what I saw was a lie. And I'm not going to lie to you, true story. When she was saying it, I kind of started questioning myself. Could this be a lie? Could this not be her? I quickly snapped out of it, though. I hung up the phone, blocked her number, and blocked her on social media, and I left. I had a place to stay, but she knew nothing about it. She didn't know where I was. I did sneak and look at Facebook, and she actually was posting how miserable she was doing, how depressed she was, how her life was ruined because her family thinks that she's a corn star. Everyone is disgusted by her. She's been uninvited to family events. She's not allowed to see her nieces and nephews anymore of her, and she's losing the one true love of her life. I don't get it. True story. Are these women really in love with these men that they claim are their soulmates and twin flames? But they just have this desire to want to sleep with other people and cheat and lie? I don't get it. What is that? What type of mental disability is that? It confuses me, man. Trying to wrap my head around it, I'm going to go crazy trying to figure it out. She would write long messages and post on her Facebook how I was the love of her life and she needs to figure out a way to get me back. People are actually commenting, friends saying things like, I've seen it happen. You will get him back. I can feel it. He's not going anywhere. He's such a great guy. Yada yada. Whatever happened, I'm sure it can be fixed. They clearly have no idea what happened. You think she got on there and told everyone? So I made a corn video and also was cheating on my husband with multiple men. And my twin girls are not his. But I made him believe that they were. He signed a birth certificate. I knew they weren't his children, but I didn't care because I'm a liar and I'm deceitful and I need help. I know I need help. I'm willing to get therapy and take responsibility for everything I've done. I think these are things that betrayed husbands or even betrayed wives wish the wayward husband and wife would do. Just take accountability and admit things. Now, I wouldn't say I would, but I think in a lot of cases, some men and women would forgive their cheating wife or husband if they just came clean and admitted everything and admitted that they need help. But maybe they don't believe that they need help. I've heard of narcissism and I read up on it. And I guess my ex-wife is a narcissist. I was not required to pay child support or anything. It was pretty simple divorce. It wasn't a pain at all. One thing she yelled out at our last hearing was that her girls won't have a father, and this is devastating. I could only think, you're the one that caused all of this. You. I walked away and continued on with my life. I hate that I went through all of that, but I am a true believer in things happen for a reason. I don't know, I'll never make that mistake again. Today I focus on my career and my health. I no longer drink. I honestly have a very clear mind when I don't drink alcohol. I want to wish every man who has overcome tough situations similar to mine a successful life, even those who have never been through it. But these stories keep them from making a huge mistake, like ignoring red flags, etc. I wish you all the best and take care, True Story. Thank you for providing your platform. Wow, what an email, dude. I'm glad you're good, man. I'm glad you're good, dude. She is a liar. This is a nasty woman. You know, I hope you got checked up on, you got yourself checked out. You know, I'm sure you did, and you're good. You're right, man. Focus on yourself, focus on your career. You know, I hear what you say when you say things happen for a reason, right? But some things is just, it's like, it's too much. Why did I have to meet somebody like that? Why did I have to get lied to like that? Why did I have to go through that? And you kind of mentioned it too, man. You said you want people to start paying attention to red flags and don't ignore red flags. And there's, you know, you said all the nice things about her in the beginning. You know, she was practicing abstinence and she came off as this pure woman and she's sending you scriptures and all that stuff. There had to be some other red flags that you completely ignored. And I bet if you sit and think about it now that all this is over, since all this has been over, I guarantee you can sit back and pinpoint exactly the red flags occurred. Oh, why did I ignore that? Because you really liked her. That's all it was, man. You really liked her. So you ignored a lot. I hope you don't have to go through that anymore. Now, I don't wish that on anybody. Guys, if you want to send a story in, send it to truestorynation@gmail.com. Here, I'll put it on the screen. That's truestorynation@gmail.com. I'm going to catch you guys at the next one.